Hey everybody, it's Jason with HD Innovations. I'm here today to do a little assembly video for you guys, and this is going to be super easy. It's going to be super nice. Something that I didn't even really talk about that I was going to release, and we're going to do it today. So as you guys know, this is the HD Shuttle. We've sold, we're at over 10,000 of them in just this little short duration. So we launched in August, middle of August of 2024, and we sold over 8,000 of them by the middle of December. So we felt pretty good about that. So we always sold these completely assembled. Every one of them, everyone's ready to go, super easy. We have a lot of requests for a do-it-yourself style, non-assembled, I will call it, shuttle. And there's no better product to do it than this one because it's so simple to assemble and the wiring's fully done and everything is just very straightforward. So we're going to do that here today. We're going to offer this product out. It's going to be a little bit lower cost than the regular one, of course, because we don't have the labor in assembling it. And everything's there. I've built quite a few of them myself just today, just to make sure everything was cool and everything was good. And we're going to go ahead and do this today. So I have one here that is built. I just built this out of the kit before, so we can kind of reference it as we go. And here is the non-assembled version of it. Also, here is the non-assembled version, and here's the non-assembled version, and 3 more pallets that way, and 3 more pallets that way. So there is 2,000 of these babies. And I guess I should say this is the 9th or 10th of March. So there's on the 9th of March. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna run through this with you guys. I'm gonna try not to hurry too much because I tend to go a little bit too fast in my videos, and I'm gonna try not to do that today. We're gonna enjoy this. So first off, we're gonna open it up. It's kind of gonna always be as it is weird for me. I don't ever assemble from looking in that direction. I would look this direction, so I always have to kind of do it backwards, but we're gonna figure it out. It's all gonna work out. Of course, you get the pull holders, come with every shuttle. Okay, just to start with, what you're getting in this box is exactly what you would get in the retail box. Every single piece, exactly the same, except for the box. That's it. So, of course, your pole holders are here. So we're just gonna set these off to the side for now. Right here is the switch panel. We don't even need to take this out of the box just yet. So I'm just gonna set this right up here. This little box is going to be your hardware. So we'll open this guy up here. This is just the miscellaneous box. So we have our strap that goes on the handle, and this is what it goes over your pole for your pole holders to make sure it doesn't fly away. You have your battery hold down strap here. Just 2 little screws for that when we get to it. Then we have this packet here, which has the screwdrivers in it and the Allens. These are for putting your electronics on. Now, I'm not going to put electronics on this shuttle today because that's not what we're doing. We're building the shuttle as if to the point where you would buy it from the store. There's other assembly videos that show electronics. I've got another video that shows how to do the electronics. We're not going to get into all that today. So this one here, we're not going to use for now. We're just going to set it over here. This one, we are definitely going to use. And the little screwdriver, I'll tell you what, we got one step up this time on the little screwdriver from last time. So we won't need this little box again. If you want to put your hardware in here as you go so you don't lose it, you can do that. I do not. Okay, when you pull out your shuttle here, I'm just gonna slide this guy off a little bit. When you pull out your shuttle, it's gonna be wrapped up in this like plastic wrap kind of stuff. We're gonna take the box and we're going to get rid of it. So, first things first, I'm gonna unwrap it. There is kind of an operation that I like to do with these, and everybody's different. The fact of the matter is it all has to go together, and there's only like 3 different types of screws. So it's super easy. Okay, so first things, you have your handle. A nice round handle here, has a T-track on the top, and these are 1/4-20 inserts in the side this time. So the first round of manufacturing we did M6, and a lot more connection points were actually 1/4-20 than M6, coming to find out. So we changed them to 1/4-20. It should be for all your GoPros and others, easy to find the hardware. So those are there, and that's on. We're gonna put that right off to the side. Here you have your faceplate. You'll notice that there's 2 hinges. So there's a hinge upper on each side. And this is your bottom. And you're going to see that there's just a series of holes right here. This is for the battery hold down. And again, something different that we changed in this new round of manufacturing is that now the hinges for the bottom of the shuttle are integrated right into the actual bottom piece. So our other one we had, it was notched in and then they sat flush. So you really couldn't see them, but there was still another piece that was screwed on from the bottom. We didn't do that. I just eliminated those and we just manufacture them directly in here. So that's easy now. So then we have your two sides. We're just going to put those up here for now. And of course the back. So most people that have watched some of my other videos, they know the first things that I usually like to do with any assembly is I like to sort my hardware. I don't care if I'm buying something from IKEA or anything. I sort out all the hardware into different types because I just think it's a lot easier to see what you need to do. If there are 8 holes and you only have 8 screws of a certain kind, then you know where those go. So here you're going to have 2 rods like this. Now these are your hinge pins. We're going to put those in a minute. I'm just going to set them right here on this plate because that's the first thing we're going to end up doing. You have your two M4 thumb screws for the front for the faceplate. These are a little different now. They have Phillips heads in them. So we're just going to set those kind of off to the side because that's the last step. Then in here we're going to have, a couple small washers, 2 small washers. Those will be for the battery hold down. And then there's going to be 6 small M4 screws like this little guy. I know it's hard to see from where I'm at, but they're just little guys. You'll see them in here. There's 6 of them. They're little M4s. And they're called tapping screws. So we're going to put those off to the side. We're going to sort them out. So count 6 of those out, put them in a little pile over here. And this is just going to help us to not grab the wrong thing for the wrong part. Now, there's one other one that is important. Mixed in with all of these types of screws is these 2 screws that look exactly the same, except for they're just slightly shorter. So that's why I say sort the hardware right away, because it's very easy. I've done it many times to just grab one of these shorter ones instead of this one that's just a little bit longer. That's only about, it's about a 1/4 inch longer. But these 2 are for the handle, all right? Now, what I like to do is I like to take these and we're just gonna set them right to the side, and that's gonna be our step number 2. And this just eliminates the only variables in this thing. So we're gonna start off with the faceplate. I would say probably the most difficult part of the whole build, and it's not difficult at all. So that's kind of saying something. On your pins, you're going to see that there is a knurled section of it. So there's like a little knurled section here, and then it's all smooth the rest of the way. The knurling is so that it grabs into the plastic and holds in place and doesn't come back out. That's going to be the part that goes in last. If you look at your hinges, you're going to have right in the side, right here, there's a tiny little hole, and that's on both sides. So if you have it here with the holes facing up, you're going to set that flat down, and then you're going to have your faceplate just like this with the hinges facing up. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to just set the bottom part right into the hinges. So what I like to do is I like to just go right above it so that they're kind of just right above it where they need to be. And then I just give it a little tap, down in place, and then those hinges are firmly within their area. Okay, now we're just going to take your pin, and it is easier to do this entire setup on some kind of surface that's not slippery like this. Usually I have a black mat down here that is like kind of anti-slip, but this looks a lot better with the contrast for the video. So this is just a whole sheet of HDPE, which is the same stuff that the shuttle's made out of. So it's slipping and sliding on me. So you're going to go ahead and take your pin, smooth side first, and it's going to go right into the hole, the tiny little hole in the front corner right here. Okay, so this little hole I'm going to look because I can't see anything. And so it's going to go in all the way to the point where it gets to right to the hinge. And as long as it's flat, I'll lift this up for you. As long as it's flat right here, and it's seated all the way in this way, and then it's flat, it's gonna go right in the hole. So you don't have to worry about that. Now what I like to do is I like to do one side at a time. You can use anything you want to push this in here, okay? One way that I found you can do it is you can use this little screwdriver, and on the side of the screwdriver there's like notches in here. Now you can kind of use this as like almost like a T-bar to pull it in, and it works okay. And what I like to do is hold this against my body, because you're gonna have to pull with a decent amount of force. And you can kind of do this thing, and you can kind of, you know, pull right towards your body and just pull it right in there. Just make sure you grip her tight, because it's gonna want to spin on you. So I usually get that down as far as I can go. So it's going to be like this, and then in the very end there's just going to be a little bit sticking out. And then, you know, you can kind of do whichever way you want to do. You can grab the tip of the screwdriver like so, and you can put it right tight against it, and then just push right in, and then that'll just make it flush. And then now it is completely flush like that. And so this is how we did it, so that we can have the hinge integrated, because of course you need a pin. I did not just want to put like little dimples or have this just forced in there. I wanted a metal connection for the actual hinge, so it just lasts a really long time and it doesn't break on anybody out on the ice. So nice long pin. My manufacturer nailed that. I mean, I don't even know how they machined that thing, but that's pretty amazing how nice that is. So one thing I like to do during these videos is, of course, you guys are going to assemble it with whatever tools, but you know, some of you are much more handy and you might have the same tools I do. I have no idea. So something that when I assemble these here, I can show you right now. I use a drill. Yes, it's a Ryobi drill. It is what it is. Say, I actually have a screw that I put in here, and then it actually grabs right onto that knurling really nicely. And so when I do this, I actually put the pin in, just kind of push it in my hand where it can go. And then I take my drill and then I just run this in like that. And then it can pretty much push it in the rest of the way. And then you can just take and finish it off with a different tool that I have that's not this one, but you can just push it in the rest of the way really simply. But it just, when you're doing a lot of them over and over again, it makes it nice. You just right in. So again, that's just a tip of how I do it. If you're only doing, you know, 2 at home, you can just use anything. You can use this, it doesn't matter what it is. Just don't bend the hinge over. All right, so now that we have that, you don't need to fold it up, do anything else just yet like that. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take our strap for our battery, which is this one here. It says HD on it. It flexes in the middle and it has the 2 grommets on there. Now this is the bottom of the shuttle. So the bottom of the shuttle is going to have the part that says HD. And this will all make sense in the end. It ends up getting like going like this over the battery, and the HD sits out looking out the front at you. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put that on there. Now again, we give you the screwdriver. It's not great. If you have a different screwdriver, like a fatter stubby or something that you can use that you like, by all means use yours, because this is like last case emergency type tool here. So small washer, there's only 2 of them, so then they're exactly the same. Small washer, and then small little short M4 tapping screw. I'm gonna put these guys on here. These washers go onto these screws a little bit tight. I'm not really positive why, but you can just kind of put it on there and take your screwdriver and run it in a little bit if you want. So what I like to do, this is all stainless hardware. So stainless hardware is completely non-magnetic. It's not gonna stick to the tip of your screwdriver. It's not gonna stick to anything at all. So I always like to contain it like in the part, and that way it kind of stays there, and then you can take your screwdriver and you can push it from here holding it, and you're going to go on the front of this plate. There's holes. This is going to be the back of the shuttle and this is the front, so you're going to put it all the way in the very front hole. Now if you have a 52 amp hour battery or a 48 or a Norsk 50, it has to go all the way in the front hole. If you have a 30 amp hour amped outdoors, I forget what the other one is, like basically that same size battery, the 30 wide, the 52, the 48, the Norsk 50, those are all the same size case. You're gonna need to be all the way in the farthest out one. Now, if you have like a 32 amp hour amped outdoors, that variant, so the Norsk version of that, any of those, you're gonna go back 2 holes from the front, count back, so you'll be in the 3rd hole. And then if you have like a 19 amp hour battery or something, you can go even farther back, and you can just change that around later. put your battery in here at this point if you want to see like, oh, where's it going to sit? It's pretty simplistic, but that's where you're going to have to put these. So when I assemble them new to send out, I just put them all the way in the farthest one out because, I mean, most people honestly have a 52 or a 30. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Like I said, I just hold it on that part, and then I'm just going to screw this right down into there. Now I'm using the screwdriver right now. I would 100% use my drill. I don't use an impact on this because you're screwing into plastic. Yes, these are threading tapping screws, so they grip in the plastic extremely hard, but still, you don't need an impact. When I use my drill, I have this small Milwaukee M12 drill like this, and it has the different settings for the clutching on it. I know what settings I use for each different one, but every drill is different. So I can't tell you exactly what your drill settings would be for yours. I know for the little M4s down here, that I use it on like the last one, maybe number 2 on this setting, and that's what I run that in with. So, okay, so we have that thing installed. That's fine. We're not going to connect this to anything just yet. That was just easy to do because it was already on this piece. So this whole bottom piece now, we're just going to set it off to the side. Now, the only other 2 screws that were different were these 2 medium length screws, I'll call them. So these ones are for the handle. This is what attaches the handle, and they just have to be a little bit shorter so they don't go out the other end of the handle. I'm going to show you this way. I would normally have it facing this way when I do it myself, but I'll do it this way for now. The holes right in here, you're going to see 2 holes where the screws are going to go through. Now, I'll be honest with you. If you want to put it this way, if you want to put it that way, it doesn't matter to me at all. The technical way, how I designed it, is for those screws to be in the back. That way you're not looking at them from the front. So very simple. You just put this on top, tip it over, it just falls right down in place and just slides in like a glove. If for some reason or another it doesn't go in super easy, that's okay. You're going to tap it down. Just make sure that it looks level, both sides are fully down, and that these screws and the holes are lining up. I've not had one not line up yet, so you should be perfectly fine. Whenever I put these kind of screws in, all the rest of the screws we do, I usually take the screw and I put it right in the hole because, again, these are stainless and they don't stick to your screwdriver, so it's a pain if you try to do it that way. Also, once I have them in there, I'm going to push down. Now, with these ones, I like to just make sure the handle's fully seated down when I'm doing this. Now, see? So what I like to do is just kind of thumb on top, just push down a little bit, and that way you can hold it. And I'm just going to bring this right in. So that was on a number 2. That's not the right setting for that one. Okay. Perfect. So now that's installed. That's the last of that size screws. So now all the rest of these other screws we have that are the longer ones, those are all exactly the same. As long as you keep that pile separate from the little guys, then you don't even have to think about it. So at this point, again, it's nice to have a surface that's not slippery, but we're gonna work right on through this thing here. You have your sides, okay? This side, the bottom, and the top. The top goes on last. We're gonna do the sides right now. There's a couple different ways to do it. I generally like to try to push down with the drill so that you're pushing right down in the surface, but sometimes you just can't. So what we're gonna do here, we have your side. The 2 sides are different, okay? If you look at them, they're gonna be obviously opposite of each other. So you just make sure you have the right side, I should say the correct side for what you're doing. The taper section is gonna be in the front, because this is where the faceplate goes. And it's attaching right here onto the back. Now this is a rabbet joint, so the side here sits directly into this groove. So you're just literally butting this right up to it and that. Now I do it sitting flat because the bottom of this is on the bottom of this is the bottom, and the bottom of this is the bottom. So as long as you have a flat surface and not something too soft, like you're not on a pillow or like a, don't do it on carpet, because what you'll do if you do it on carpet is you'll, when you screw it together, it'll pinch the carpet in between there. And when you go to lift it up, you'll just be attached to your carpet then. You don't want to do that. So what we'll do here is we're going to put this right together. I like to take a screw. I'm going to do it so you can see here. And I stick it through the hole, and I actually pull the side kind of away, and I line the hole up here. These are not pointed screws. They're not supposed to be. If you have a pointed screw and you don't have it perfectly lined up, you can run that pointed screw right into the plastic. And we didn't want that. We want flat screws that are going to be able to, if you're not lined up with a hole, then you can't get it in there. So basically, where you hold this, and this is the only little bit of a struggle, especially when you're on slippery surface like I am. So I'm just going to hold this thing with my chin right here real quick. I'm trying to get it just barely in that hole started a little bit. Then I'm going to grab my drill, and I'm just going to go ahead and run that guy in there. So when you're doing this, you're going to have to hold against the handle and then run that guy in. Perfect. So now we're good. Okay, now she stands up on her own. So that was one of the only tricky parts. And again, if I was doing it, I would have done it this way, and I would have been able to go right from the edge off here. It gets a lot easier, but for the sake of the video, it's always for the sake of the video, right? So we'll do another one right here on the bottom. Same story. Let's make sure that it's always flush, right? Everything is very flush. It's very well machined, and there shouldn't be out of alignment or anything else. So I'm just going to go ahead down here. Okay, and like I said, I'm not stripping the head. That's the clutch in here. So I'm set on a 5 or a 6 right now on mine. But that means nothing, because your drill, unless you have the exact same Milwaukee M12, it means nothing. So just, you can try yours. I mean, if it's tight, that's good. If you put it in with a screwdriver first, and then you want to like use a drill and start on 1, okay, and notch your way up, oh, then you're good. You can put all the rest of them into that torque, I would say. But that's something for you to decide. We're going to go ahead and do the other side now, which would be my left side. So same deal. The notch here on the bottom goes inward. The nice flat machine surface with the 2 holes in it goes to the back. The angled part is in the front with the insert in it. Then I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to grab a screw and I'm going to put it through the hole here. And then see if I can do it this way so you can see a little bit better. So then, yeah, when I do this, I'm just basically looking at it from the side, and I'm just lining that hole right up with it. So we'll do that here. Get the hole kind of lined up. And as soon as you get one hole lined up, then you're good to go. So I got that hole lined up. Come on. Okay. So now the top one's lined up. We still have the bottom one to do, but this is the time to check and make sure that it's not, wonky or something's not pulled in tight. Grab this guy here on the bottom. So I'm gonna bring this guy in. And you can't see my other hand, but I'm holding here and I'm pushing back. So I'm holding here and I'm pushing, my 2 hands are essentially pushing against each other with the drill to get tension. Otherwise, you're just gonna push the shuttle all the way around your house. Perfect. And if you have a hard time with that, you can most certainly hold it like this. You can take and put something underneath here. You could take like a box, like one of these boxes, and place it underneath here. Anything you might have just to keep it this way. And then you can stand up, which is really nice. And you can drill straight down with your body weight, just pushing down this way. You can do it the same with the sides when we do that. You can always be standing. I'm sitting again for the sake of the video. It's just a lot better. Even when I'm assembling a lot of them, sometimes I just stand up and stretch my back for a little while. So we have those 4 in there. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move to the bottom. Now this is this whole thing again with the strap on it, and it already has the faceplate on it, and we're all set to go here. So the strap part of it ends up inside the shuttle. This is where the battery is, it's inside. So this is going to be facing up. Your hinges can keep laying down just like they are. I take the shuttle here and I tip it right on its back. And I'm gonna try to do this so you can pretty much see what's going on here. See, something like that maybe. And then these here, these are dados cut in it. So they completely accept the entire side of it, all the way around the back and everything. So you're gonna stick it right on the one side here, and then you might have to just kind of tip this out a little bit and get it into the other side. So now it's contained in both of these slots, and it's gonna slide down. Like if you ever built a dresser and you're putting those things in the bottom or the back of it, you have to slide it in the channels, same situation. So make sure that you just kind of hold your strap up so it doesn't end up getting caught underneath it. And we're just gonna push this down. And usually what I like to do when I put these in, so when I get to here, I just give it more like a little forceful hit to the bottom, just settles it nicely. So I just do one of them numbers. So then you can check right along the bottom here. Okay, you can check right down in this area and just make sure it's all tight. You shouldn't see a gap in there. If you see a gap on one side or the other, it means maybe there's a little stray piece of plastic or something that got stuck underneath it. Who knows? You can just slide it back out and just check that. If there's any little thing that was in there, just clean that out and then you can put it back down and you're good to go. So now that we have this guy in here, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take this and put it up on its side. That's why I said I like doing things on the side like this, because now you have the pressure from here straight down. So if you were to stand, your table, this is gonna be kind of like just above waist height, and it's really easy just to push straight down. So my screws here and back in frame. So I'm just gonna take 2 screws, I'm just gonna put them right in these holes right away. And you can kind of give them a little twist if you want, or just set them in there, it's completely up to you. One thing you wanna check also when you're doing this, right in the very front right here, you're gonna have where this panel comes up and this front is right here. There's that little area. Just make sure that that's nice and flush. If it's sticking out this direction, then the screw holes aren't gonna wanna line up just right. So we're just gonna go ahead with that, and we can put these guys in. Easy. Flip it directly over. Now we'll do the other side. Okay. So, you got those 2 in there. Got the back is on. Everything's snugged up really nicely. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna flip this thing over, and now we have the inside. So we're still missing the top. This is the back, so we're gonna put it right down on the back again. Now we're gonna put the other end of this battery strap on. It's a lot easier to do it now than it is to do it once the top is on. So we're gonna go ahead and grab one of our little washers again, the circle washer, like this. And then just the small screw. Honestly, I've been continually calling these M4s, but these are actually M6 screws, but they're just really short. I think they're 3/8 long. So we'll grab our 5th, I should say. There's 4 left now. And I think I can run this washer on a little bit. And then you're just gonna take your strap. Now you have the strap here, okay? So we're just gonna take our short screw, M6 screw with the washer, and we're gonna put it right through the grommet, just like this. And then I'm gonna pull this back so I can actually work on it. And it's gonna go right into the single hole that is right there above where the battery goes. Little screw hole there, pre-drilled. We're just gonna bring that down to there. And you can use your little screwdriver. I will, just for the sake of fairness, since you're gonna be struggling with the same one. Okay, that guy in there, putting him down tight. Okay, so now the battery hold down's all in place. Next step is gonna be the top. With the top piece, you're gonna have, of course, all the pattern holes for your different screens and all that stuff. You're gonna have kind of a sharper edge here, and then you're gonna have a machined chamfer on this side. And on the bottom here, you're going to have a bunch of like countersunk holes. And the top is not really countersunk holes. The side that does not have the countersunk holes here goes on top. This portion is so that your screws for your screen don't hang down and interfere with your battery or anything. So you want your sharp edge to go to the side where it's a sharp edge. And what we're going to do here is you have this big long dado that runs through there. We're going to take your top, the big hole goes in the back. And I like to put it in just on a little bit of an angle, kind of like this. And then I just use my fingers on both sides and I say, okay, but maybe this way, maybe that way. Okay, that feels flush on both sides. And then with that little bit of an angle, I just tap it down in there. And this is all made to fit tight, so it's just nice and snug when it's in. So that's in. You know, if you need to use a little, I don't know, maybe a little mallet or something, that's perfectly fine. Like a rubber one, you know, you wouldn't want to use anything else. And I think this is what a lot of people refer to as a hammer, right? So get that in there nicely. If for some reason it's not perfectly lined up on one side or it's got a little off during the putting it in, you can just kind of push it back out and wiggle it and it'll seat itself. So we're good there. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to tip it back up like this. And we can put our sides in. One thing, I'll back up just a second, okay? I want to make sure that this goes easy for everybody that does it at home. It's better at this point to put the two of them in the back. And the reason being is because, you know, we had to pound that thing down into this channel. You know, we're hitting and making sure. If you don't get it perfectly all the way in the first step, the screws will most certainly make sure that it's all the way in there. And if it's not pulled in all the way tight, then these holes aren't going to line up where they're supposed to be. So we'll go ahead and we'll do these ones next right here, just so that I can make sure that everyone that's assembling it is going to have the easiest time. So you can just go ahead, there's two holes here on the top, and they thread right into there's two holes in the back, and they thread in right to the top. So I'm going to put these in. Perfect. And when I just put mine in, it did actually pull my top inward just a little bit. Should have listened to myself and put it in the hole. Okay. Perfect. So now we know it's pulled in tight. Everything's lined up. Now we're going to do these 4 holes on the top. So I take my screws and I just put them right in those holes, just like that. And then I do 2 other ones. I'm kind of a systematic OCD person, so if 4 of them are going in the 4 holes before I start. And then I'm just going to run these guys down here. It's kind of the same thing. I'm just kind of feeling on the sides. If something needs to move a little bit or the other, you can just kind of shift it a little bit. Make sure it's nice and lined up. All right, so I'm going to do that. Perfect. I don't know how many times I've hit the mic so far, but oh, I already got them all in there. I don't need those. Flip it around so you guys can see. We'll do these 2. Perfect. All right. Now that that's all done, that's most of that main component. We're going to go ahead and we're going to flip this up so we can set it on the face. Now, when you flip this up, we have not bent our front angle yet. So just push lower on this. So when you fold it up, just push lower, and it's just going to fold right up like that on those hinges. Now it's going to kind of look like this. It's like, oh, that doesn't fit very well, right? It will. So we're going to kind of set it up on its back, and we're just going to hold up underneath it a little bit here. And we're going to put the rest of our screws in. So there's 3 that go on the bottom. And you will have, if it's the way it's supposed to be, you'll have 1 extra long screw. And that is by design, just in case one was missing or something like that. We just had a spare there. So I'm going to go ahead and put these 3 in the bottom in. Let's just tie that all together. Okay. That is chassised. That's the whole frame. The house is built here. Now we're going to wire this thing. So this is where you're gonna need all your tools. You're gonna need your wire nuts, you're gonna need your strippers and meters and all that stuff. No, I'm kidding, of course. I'm just gonna use this little screwdriver just to rip this tape here. So I'm gonna open up the little box and there you go. Full wire harness, full switch panel, carbon fiber plate. This is true carbon fiber plate, not just coated plastic or anything else. Of course, all the main componentry, everything you get on the other shuttle that would be bought in the store, the retail stores, is exactly the same right here. You have your connections on the back. Again, I'm not going to go too far into this because it's in other videos, but sonar positive, sonar negative, these two connections, that's where your sonar, your screen and your box, whatever electronics you have, this is where you're connecting them. Just consider these battery connections. These little flip up, your wire goes in, you strip it of course, and then flip back down, good to go. You do not have to have the main power button on to charge your battery. You do not. It looks like it runs through there, it does not. So we're gonna go ahead and install this, very simple. The light goes to the inside, so the light's gonna be here, and the charge port's gonna be out here. So we're gonna just put this guy in there, just like this. And then we're gonna use the rest of these small screws. Okay, get this guy started a little bit. Of course, you can use the little screwdriver. Again, I'm not going to because I'm not going to. So I turn this all the way to my lowest setting is what I do, all the way down to the lowest setting. And that's good for me when I do this. Your low setting might not be even close. It might be way too much. Either way, just use a little bit of common sense on that one and just put it in until it's tight. Okay. Awesome. So, I mean, that's wired. You didn't need anything. No tools. Then not one connection. The only bit of connection you're gonna have to do is to connect your two wires to my quick clips and the other two terminals to your battery. That's it. Okay, this port right here, this is an SAE port, Standardized Automotive Electrical Port. This is the most common connection in the portable sonar, portable anything for the most part, outdoors. This is what everyone uses. Now, if you have a Markham battery, you can't use your charger. Markham does not use a battery charger, they use a power supply, and the polarity is different. So for us, it has to be an actual battery charger with an SAE. The top pin on here is positive, and you can just simply see that from the back. The red wire, it goes toward the top of it. So just make sure, Amped Outdoors, every one of their chargers is perfect. Norsk, now their new chargers are going to SAE. I don't know who else has one. So I would just stick with one of those two brands, Amped, of course, being the number one. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and bend this front panel now. This is already pre-grooved, basically a living hinge for exactly to do this. We put this handle. We put the harness and everything in first because it just gives stability to that section of it. It's pretty gutted for everything to fit through it. So we're gonna go ahead and grab it on both sides. I'll do it this way. So we're gonna grab it kind of on both sides, and you're just gonna just tip up and just tip it right all the way up until it's right against it just bottoms out on the back side of that hinge. Okay, and that's like that. So now you have a hinge. Now it's bent. So this goes up, that goes that way. Super simple. Here in the front where your thumb screws go, we've made this an elongated hole, a little more elongated, I should say, than it was before. So, some people had an issue with not getting it really straight in there. Just note to yourself, okay? The insert is on the same angle as the side. So it's not going straight out. It's parallel, I should say, not parallel, I should say. It's 90 degrees from the surface here. So it's coming like this. So when this comes down and sits onto it, it's going to be going in straight with that angle. Now we added Phillips head into the center of these. So you can, of course, use them by finger. That's how they are. That's how they're designed to work, is by that. So it's a little easier if you can look in here. Okay. You can use your little screwdriver if you want. Okay. Now again, we're building this together as if it was to go to the store. So there's a bunch of steps in here that, of course, if you're building this to put your screen on it, it's going to be a little bit different. But I'll go through that right here after this. So there. That's it. That's the whole thing. Pole holders, there's right here yet. They come with the T-nut in them and the M6 hex head in the center there. And that is right here in this tools. So I can show you this one. We'll go through a little bit of this while we have it out. So we'll go ahead and loosen these guys up for the pole holders. Now, if you're putting this all together and you have a bag, just note that you can't put these on right away. You have to put them on after you put it all in the bag. What if you're not putting them in the bag right away? Then don't worry about that. Loosen it up until it's, it's down, it's kind of flush on the bottom side there. Then we're going to put this on. Here you'll see a nylock on this side. There's a nylock on that side. And there's a Phillips head on that side. These can be tightened. So we had quite a few people that lost theirs and lost the nut and the wheel. They lost the wheel out there in the ice. We didn't send them quite as tight last time due to the fact that we didn't want to press too hard right away and deform stuff, but we provided all the tools. I just kind of didn't say it exactly in the video, make sure you tighten those before you go out. So it is what it is. Even so, you can tighten them up. Make sure that you have these tight enough so that they're not going to move. They're pretty good, and these are some really good nylocks on this round of them. So we're going to go ahead and slide these puppies on there. You have your T-track here. You have your T-nut. We're going to put the logo here facing out. And then you just kind of line it up in there and slide it in place. Now, pretty general rule of thumb is that you can line it up with the back of here. That's pretty general. And that'll just make sure that it fits with all the different poles and the different variations, whether it's 18 to 36 and fits with the handle and all that stuff. So you can tighten that guy up, and then we'll just do the same to the other one. Once you break it loose, you can spin this by hand here, the T-nut on the bottom. So we'll just run that down a little bit, and then bring it up, and tighten that guy up. Bring this guy a little tighter in here. Make sure he's good. Okay. So now you have these guys nice and tight. You'll notice that this actually, the screw itself contacts the bottom of the handle when you tighten it up. And that's by design because it's supposed to, that will keep it tight so that it adds tension on there and it doesn't want to vibrate out or anything like that. We'll go over this strap real quick, kind of bouncing around now. Sorry about this at the end here. I'm going to hit the strap. With this strap here, you're going to have elastic material. Now I had these straps custom made specifically for what we're doing. And it has an elastic material that goes all the way down the outside of it. It's not so it's stretchy, it's so that it grips. So what you do here, this grippy part goes against the actual handle itself. So a little closer for you. So basically the grippy part goes against there, and then the fuzzy part would be up right now. And we're going to go through, and then it just kind of pulls back onto itself. And then that prevents this from twisting and just sliding around on there. This way, when you do clip your pole on, you can come right up over the top, and you can just grab right back onto the other side of it here, and then it's secured nicely in place. And it just wants to stay there. It doesn't want to just loosen up because it has that silicone elastic material that is gripping onto here. So that was the idea with that. If you're going to have it in the bag, then you don't need this strap. You can use it for anything else in your life that you might want to use it for. So in a nutshell, that is the assembly of the Shuttle to get it right to the same place where it would be if you bought it in the store. Hooking up your electronics, watch the other video. Watch the HD Shuttle installation video. I put a Garmin on there. I go over more of the wiring. I go over more of that, some of the other stuff there. So again, thank you to everybody that has bought, everybody that has supported me. I've gotten some, some good feedback on some of the products too, and of course, first year company, first run. So we're figuring stuff out too, and yeah, I just really appreciate it, and look for all the stuff in Scheels. This DIY, I should say, I don't like calling it DIY. This non-assembled unit, for the time being, will not be in any stores. This will be direct only. The stores will be carrying the retail, fully assembled version of it. So. If you want to save yourself $40, maybe a little more, you can stop over to our website and you can buy it this way. And you can spend, what do we got? An hour of time, 45 minutes with me putting it together. When I put them together in here in the shop, normally like this, it's about 12 minutes per shuttle. But that's rocking and rolling many times in a much more of a system setup. So again, thank you to everybody. Thanks for all the support. We'll catch you on the next one.